So here I implement some bonus point for this project. Here we can see that there are two blue cards and each of the card is player 1 and player 2. So which means it will be having separate operating system. For example, if I click on play, then when it starts, we can see there are two different scenes and each scene has one different player. And this player, I can control it with just WSD. The other one, I can control it with only like upside down. So when I'm controlling this, I can drive this from two different controlling system, and as you can see, I can drag them across. I can even change views for like two different vehicles. So that's about it. The way I actually did this is easier than I thought. So I have already created start display, and I have already created this player 1 here. As we can see that player 1 has the camera 1 and main camera. So what I did is I basically copy paste this player 1 into this player 2. So now we have like two different players, and we have to make sure that their operating system is differently. So before we have set up that in the player 1, we can actually using in the player control script, we are using this forward input and horizontal input to actually do WSAD or up, down, left, right. So what I made change is inside of the project management, the project settings inside of the input management. Originally our horizontal has not only A and D but also the alternative buttons, and I delete them, so which basically means I can only use A and D, and I copy paste this horizontal 1 into horizontal 2 and make the button into left and right. So basically those two different horizontal axes are contribute to two different separate objects. So basically change everything like this, and that's how you make two different players. Actually, there's one more thing I want to talk about is the way that you're switching cameras. So basically I create two different cameras for each player. For example, for player 1, it should have a main camera which will look this way, and also it will have like a camera 1 which will look in the front like a first person preview. So when I'm doing this switching different cameras, I actually apply this camera to each player so that I can just copy paste the whole player. But for example, the main camera, I write a separate script here. It's called camera switcher. So in this camera switcher, I create two camera object. I believe that you can also create as a game object, but I just like this use this specific object called cam, and then like I give it like a switch key as a key code. So here basically at the start, I wanted to start like only the main camera is enabled and the camera 1 is not enabled. So this is basically my start position. And what I want to do in the update is that if we press the switch key, then I want the camera, each camera including camera main camera or camera 1, their status has to be the opposite of their original status. For example, this is the first time I press the switch key, then the main camera will be disabled and the camera 1 will be enabled. If this is the second time I press the switch key, I want the main camera to be enabled and the camera 1 to be disabled. So remember this is like a very important thing, because a lot of people will say, hey, if I press the switch key, another way to do it is that if you press this key 1, you can say, hey, I want to set active of this camera to make sure it's true, and then another camera I want to set active equals to false, and if you press another key, then the status goes way around. So that's another way, but I think this is a better way. So this is something I just want to mention.